And here we go from Las Vegas. Puck is down, and we are underway for the first ever meeting between ASU and UND. And we'll not have to wait very long for our first whistle as UND wins the faceoff and fires it into the mid of TJ Semptenfelter.
Just an easy stop already for TJ Semptenfelter. And, you know, in the opening minutes of a hockey game like that are so important because you got to see who's going to dictate the pace. And right now we talked about how UND can do that with those faceoff wins because they average at 55% faceoff wins due to ASU's 45%. So one of those things to look out for.
Face-off in the ASU zone now. They will win that. It'll be taken in by Schmagi behind the net as they try to break it out of their own zone. They're able to get out of their zone into the neutral area. Sillinger flings it back, and ASU will dump it in. DeRitter behind his net will play it in for a defenseman. Wrapped around the boards. Line held there. Zone held. Tip in front just past the outstretched arms of DeRitter. That's going to go behind the net. UND going back now the other way. It's going to be tapped into the ASU zone. Schmagi is there for the Devils. He works it up. There is Mastro Simone, the first line forward, will dump it in. ASU gets a change as UND now in possession of the puck. They work it up. The first line on the ice now. Reese Gaber dumps it in. He has it taken away, though. Mastro Simone will fling it over to defenseman who will send it all the way down for ASU, and that will be an icing.
A little uncompetitive there out of ASU. I mean, they looked like they were a little overwhelmed trying to get into their offensive zone, dumping it in there just to get a quick change, but nothing really big out of them yet. It's not a slow start from him, but not a flying start out the Sun Devils.
Almost like a feeling out process between these two teams. You know, who's really going to control the game here in this first period.
It is their first ever meeting, so they will have to have a bit of a feeling out process, like you said, Joseph, as we have a face-off here in the far circle of the ASU zone. That one's going to be won by UND. A big slap shot is blocked, though. That was Chris Jandrick on the shot there. Now the puck back all the way into the UND zone. They're going to regroup. That pass is tipped there by a Sun Devil, and they'll dump it in behind the net of DeRitter. A couple players chasing after it. Puck battle won there by ASU, and they'll maintain control. Up to a point now for Tim Lovell. We'll send it back down behind DeRitter. And that's going to be a UND defenseman back there able to get it. Gaber taps it over to Jackson Blake through the neutral zone. Back to Gaber into the ASU zone, but there's 4 Devils there. And Tim Lovell will grab behind the net and fling it around to his partner. Now Ryan O'Reilly with the puck skating through the neutral zone on the near side here, but he has it taken away. And Owen McLaughlin will regroup here for UND. He makes a nice move to avoid a defender, gets it up to Judd Caulfield. Caulfield takes it into the zone for UND. They're moving left to right in their black uniforms. Swung around now, and the shot goes wide of the net. And he swung up now through the neutral zone down into the UND zone, and a couple players chasing after it. There will be no icing. And now a puck in front of the UND net, but nobody home. And the Hawks are there, but now a turnover. And the freshman there for ASU got it. That was Ryan Alexander. Now a scrum down in the near corner. Caulfield able to get it out into the neutral zone, but again taken in by an ASU defender. They'll dump it in front of the net of DeRitter, but UND defense is there to make the play. Now send all the way back down to the ASU zone. A couple of players there fighting for it. It will be Griffin Ness who ends up with the puck skating around the back. Now up to the point, looking for Ethan Frisch. Pass a little bit wide for him, so we have to track it down back in his own zone. And both teams will get a change and regroup here. 17:23 to go here in the first frame. No score on the Board and Blaze radio. Shot there blocked by an ASU defender. A couple players go sliding down into the boards. No whistle, play on. And now play continues on into the neutral zone as a player gets sent down to the ice there from ASU. As Ethan Frisch will gather it in for the Fighting Hawks. He sends it over to his partner now. Griffin Ness tries to dump it in. He's successful in doing so. Now Tim Lovell with the puck in his own zone, trying to get a hold of it. His teammate Kumunzis will swing it around there, and they're able to get it out to the neutral zone. Both teams playing back and forth here early on. No real great scoring chances yet. Demetrius Kumunzi shined in every facet on Friday night. From his epic Caterpillar, which some of us are trying to replicate, to his game-changing speed, he was a difference maker for the Devils all night long. ASU has proven a few things early on this season. They're going to have solid goaltending, play real physical, and have a top line that can play with the best of them. But getting production from second and third liners like Kumunzi's could be the difference on whether the Devils are still playing come playoff time. You talk about the closeness of that group. You got a few guys from that team that went on to play for the Gophers, and now Mason Nevers on that team still plays for the Gophers. Yep. What's that going to be like with him coming down here? What's that experience going to be like?
It's good. I actually have gotten to play him already we've played the Gophers, I think, 4 times now. None have gone our way. So there's definitely a chip on all of our shoulders, especially the guys that have been here before and have experienced those games. But when the puck drops, it's business time, and we can talk after the game, be friends after. But when that puck drops, my job is to do whatever I can to help our team win and make it hurt for their team.
We're going to start though with baseball. They are hot right now, and they did something last week that has only been done one time before. CSL Stats and Info team, also known as me and my laptop, did some research and have provided the subject for this week's Vault. Let's flash you back to last Tuesday. I know what you're thinking. That's not much of a Vault segment, but stick with me. We're going to get there, I promise. ASU opened up their week against GCU, taking them down 11-1, their largest victory against the Antelopes in program history, and also just the 5th time they've ever beat them. Fast forward into the weekend, and the team stayed hot, taking down Arizona, another in-state rival, sweeping them in the 3-game set, taking down the Wildcats in the Territorial Cup. So what's the significance of all this? Well, the last time an ASU team beat both GCU and the weekend series against Arizona, they had a pretty successful season. Let's flash you back to 2010 and see how they fared. Yes, here we go, a real Vault segment, the old grainy footage, the ESPN graphic package, and this is in 2010, like I said, taking on Arkansas in the Super Regional. You see that little number 1 up by Arizona State? That's because they're the number 1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament, and this home run from Drew Magi right here would lift them over the Razorbacks and put them in the College World Series. The Devils are going back to Omaha, a place they were just a season ago in 2009, and when they got to Omaha, it didn't go exactly how they wanted to, losing the opening round game to Clemson before dropping this one here 11-4 against South Carolina. But I think we can all agree on one thing. These were some glory days of ASU baseball, and this is where Willie Bloomquist wants to get the program back to. Now, that one went down on Wednesday, and we'd love to show you the highlights, but CBS media rights deals would say otherwise. So instead, I took the liberty of putting together this graphical representation of the absolute beatdown that took place in Dayton on Wednesday night. Arizona State defeated the Wolfpack 98-73 in what was easily the team's most complete performance of the season. Playoffs. That's right, we're talking playoffs. The Pac-12 Wrestling Championships are just around the corner, and our own Blake Neiman is here to give us a preview of the event on this week's edition of Impact. Yeah, we'll start with men's basketball. They return home to take on Oregon State. They've lost 4 in a row. They desperately need a win. And that guy right there, as we see on the screen, DJ Horn, could be the guy to help him. He's coming off a 1-game suspension back in the starting lineup. They take on Oregon State. And DJ, he's going to get going real early here. A little give and go there with Devin Cambridge. Dials up a 3-pointer. That's 3 of his 9 points on the night. But the Beavers got hot from deep in the first half. As you see right here, Glenn Taylor Jr. gives them a 16-13 lead on the kickout 3. That was one of 6 3-pointers in the first half for the Beavers. Another one here coming from Christian Wright. They closed the half on a 10-2 run and led 35-31 at the halftime break. The second half is all about the Cambridge brothers. Desmond tossing up to Devin right there, throwing it down for the slam. But Desmond says, hey, I can score 2 there. He gets in on the action here. 16 of his 18 points coming in the second half. That's a game-high 18 points along with 3 3-pointers. There's a one you see right there from Desmond Cambridge. But the next play comes down. Dexter Acano says, meet me at the rim. Cambridge brothers puts him on a poster. As my buddy Bill Walton would say, Dexter Acano, throw it down, big fella. But the Devils would eventually just be too much. Devin Cambridge, another layup. Cambridge brothers combined for 32 of ASU's 68 points. And what do good guards do? They close out games. That's what Frankie Collins does right here. Give him the hoop and the harm. Sun Devils go on to win. They snap the losing streak. DJ Horn ring the bell. And Bobby, what do you got for us? I guess you could say Kenny is kind of like a dilly bar because he's got everyone all jacked up. Not only has he rubbed off on the football team, he's got the whole campus excited with his catchphrase, Activate the Valley. To give us more on the whereabouts of Kenny D, here's Blake Neiman.
Checking in with Sun Devil Hockey, Riley. The team's kind of been playing like the second chair French horn in the high school band. They just got to play better, man.
Absolutely, Ethan, no doubt. But with Alaska Fairbanks coming into town this weekend, they got to have a short memory from the last time they faced off, kind of like my time in the second grade. Best 2 years of my life. Two years? Sheesh, brother. Well, here's Sun Devil defenseman Ty Murchison ahead of this weekend's matchup with the Nanooks. Alrighty, so we know how Willie feels about it, but Blake, I think we got something set up back here. Maybe we want to give it a try at the old pitch clock?
Hey, I'll give it my best shot.
All right, let's head over and do it. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to put 20 seconds on the clock. When that thing runs down to 0, wherever you're at in your question, you're just going to have to stop, and that's going to be a strike. So we'll start off with the first question right here. What kind of impression has Utah made so far early in this season?
Well, similar to ASU, they're kind of sitting around 500, just under it at 7-9, and it's been all dependent on the pitching staff. And if they come out like they can do and throw 10-plus strikeouts in a game, then they're going to be doing pretty well off being 1-2 run close game situations where they can maybe pull out a win. But if they do what they do and get outside of their own abilities, then they're going to be in some trouble.
All right, Blake, I'm going to have to stop you right there. That's strike number 1 right there. But also, who are some X factors from this Utah team that we're going to have to keep an eye on throughout this weekend series there in Salt Lake?
Yeah, certainly the best pitcher in the pitching staff so far for Utah has been Micah Ashman with a 1.5 ERA. That leads the team in 4 saves in his 4 appearances. He has been really solid and will be a nice fastball against ASU's batting lineup to try and cool them down. And then as far as the hitting lineup goes, Cameron Gurney has been lethal as well, leading the team with a 306 batting average.
Well, we'd love to hear more on that, but clock's at 0 again. That's strike number 2. And just lastly here, how does ASU match up with this team?
Well, ASU, as I mentioned, has 39 hits over these past 4 games, and you compare that to Utah, who only has 8 hits, 8 runs over this past few games. It's pretty much just a matter of the offense, and with the offensive dynamic that ASU has going right now, I don't think Utah is going to be able to stop it.
All right, you just barely got that last one in. Good job as always. Thank you for coming in, Blake. Thank you for your time. And to see more on some ASU baseball players who have been standing out as of late, here's Ethan Tuttle to tell us who's hot. Thanks for that, Max. Although the softball team may be struggling, at least they didn't lose to Princeton in the first round of the tournament, am I right? Anyway, speaking of tournaments, the ASU gymnastics squad is competing in the Pac-12 championships this weekend, and to give us an update on where they stand heading into the event, here's Grace Del Pizzo. Yeah, some clutch plays right there, and we have some more for you coming up at number 1, and who else would it be? It's Leon Marchand. It was pretty easy for our highlight team to cut this one up because you turn on a race, he's going to win. He was on my fantasy swimming team this year. He's been killing it for me all year long. He set records in 3 different events, the first swimmer, of course, since 2003, to run the table and go undefeated, and led his team to their best finish all time. They took second at the swim championships in Minneapolis. Taking over a historically successful program as a first-year head coach is one of the hardest things to do in college sports. That is exactly what Willie Bloomquist was tasked with last season, and the results were about what you could expect. Not good. Anytime a new coach comes into a program, the key word is culture. Getting players who fit a certain mold and play style is critical to a coach's success, and recruiting those guys was not a luxury Bloomquist was given in his first season. But things are different this year. Bloomquist and his staff were given a full offseason to recruit transfers and freshmen who fit their program and establish that key word, culture. What they have now is a healthy mix of both returners and newcomers, and the early results look good. This weekend there will be a good measuring stick to see just how far this program has come. Although Mississippi State isn't as strong as they usually are, they are still an SEC program that has something Bloomquist so desperately craves, a national championship, which came just 2 years ago. Hail State plays in the best conference in college baseball and possesses one of the best home field advantages in the sport. A series win this weekend could put the Sun Devils back on the map and give Bloomquist that signature win in just his second season. And that's the way it is.